What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel Horror with Nads. I'm your host, Nadia, and today on Horror Tuesday, we are diving deep into Ryan Murphy's new season of Monsters, the story of Ed Gein. But before we get into it, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share out the stream as well. And if you're watching this on the replay, leave me a comment what you thought of the show. I do have a guest with me in the back who enjoys Ryan Murphy's shows just as much as I do. So I'm going to bring her out. Hi, Vex.
Hi, Nadia. I was looking for the Shrek picture I sent you earlier.
Oh, I have it.
Find it now.
Hold on. Didn't you send it to me on X?
I'm pretty sure I reposted on X. Yeah, I think I moved it in a folder and I don't know where it is.
Here.
When I look, because I keep seeing the post. Chat. Yeah, I keep seeing it. No, I guess you can just pull it up on stream. I just wanted to show it on stream. That's all. But like, I kept every time I looked at that poster, I was like, why does this look so familiar? And then I saw your like tweet for the stream earlier today, and I was like, oh. So I pulled up a picture of Shrek, and I did the same thing, and here we are. Is it not the same?
You know what's funny? I've seen Shrek before, so everybody don't get on me, but I watched Shrek again because I think I've only ever seen the first two, not the and the third one, and I watched the final one too. I also watched Austin Powers for the first time too as well.
How did you like it?
I liked the first one. I think the second one's a little bit better. The third one's kind of
everyone's kind of split on the third one. It kind of becomes clear that it's like a cash grab because they really go all out on the celebrity cameos as well in the third one. So
that makes sense now by it. But yeah, thank you for joining me today. I know we both enjoy Ryan Murphy shows, so
you know what? Because just to clarify, I fucking hate Ryan Murphy.
I do too.
Death by 1,000 knives kind of deal. I hate Ryan Murphy, but I was still gonna watch this either way because like Ed Gein was like the story that got me into true crime because I'd watched I'd watched Psycho and Texas Chainsaw and all that stuff as a kid. So I just wanted, and I was just making the joke to my husband like, "Hey, you want to go watch like sexy Ed Gein?" Right? It's like just kept looking at me like, and lo and behold, it is a sexy Ed Gein. But yeah, I just we can get right into it if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me say hi to the chat really quick. There's a couple people. What's up, Frostfang? Frostfang is actually joining me for the first time on Stranger Things this Friday, so he's a new panel member. What's up, AJ? And what's up, Critic? That took liberties with Ed Gein they shouldn't have. Yeah. Before we get into this particular, what is your history with Ryan Murphy? Did you used to like him? Like, where was your introduction? Because I think that plays a big part into how this is depicted.
Fair. Okay. Like I had a lot of friends that liked Glee. I don't know if you ever did you ever get into Glee at all?
I've seen a couple episodes, but I'm not big into it.
Yeah. So I never watched Glee. I couldn't get into it. And then American Horror Story season 1. I remember when that was getting promoted around. I was like, oh my God, this is right up my alley. And I watched it. I was like, this is great, even though it had like a couple dead ends that it never fully explored. But I was like, okay, this is a solid concept. I liked it. Watched the second season. I was like, it's a little messier now. And then I just kind of stopped watching altogether in season 3. I hold on. No. Which season was it where they got super political? Was that season 4?
That was down the line. That's even past that because you get through Freak Show, you get through the witches. It was right before the stupid alien vampire one or
so
alien
I stopped at the I stopped at the. Hold on. So season 1 was the murder house. Season 2 was the asylum. Season 3 was witches.
I think so. Hold on. Let me look to see.
Okay.
Seasons. Give me the seasons. I don't want the first season. Hold on. Let me use AI. This is what AIs are. What are the...
Wikipedia should have this, no?
Yeah, but I feel like they'll have it on it. What's up, Toxic? I see. So Murder House was the first one. Asylum was the second one. Coven was the third one, which was Witches.
Witches, yep.
The fourth one. Hotel was 5. Then we got Roanoke, Cult, Apocalypse, 1984.
Cult was the political one. So then I dropped off after Freak Show, and I tried to pick it back up with Cult, and I was just like, everything was starting to get super political, so I just didn't bother. But I don't know, it was all good ideas. It's not that I hated the ideas Ryan Murphy had. It was just he had no idea how to properly execute them. It just felt like you were just throwing things at the board to make them stick and just to keep your viewers watching by continuously shocking them. And even season 1 of American Horror Story kind of did that as well. Like there's Tate going around and graping MILFs and whatnot was a pretty wild storyline, you know? So and then I watched some of Nip Tuck. I didn't watch all of Nip Tuck. I thought it was fun, but it felt too much like a corny soap opera, so I didn't bother finishing it. And yeah, I watched Dahmer and I watched Menendez Brothers. I kind of hoped that maybe he would do something better with Dahmer. I know that people seem to disagree with me when I say I'm just not a fan of Dahmer at all. I feel.
I mean,
go ahead.
Who's a fan of Dahmer?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me rephrase this. A fan of Ryan Murphy's Dahmer series.
Okay. I'm like, okay, Max, who are you hanging out with? You might need to check their hard drives.
It's like the production value was great for Dahmer. Evan Peters was absolutely phenomenal in the series. I just felt like it tried to push Dahmer a little bit too much as like this misunderstood gay icon. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of like how they spent an entire episode focused like completely fabricating a story about one of the Black victims and ignored all the other Black victims he had. There's the fact that they really like heavily gloss over the fact that he had 2 child victims, which he was really horrible to as well. And then even just like the ending with the courtroom stuff and the post thing, it just felt a little bit disrespectful. Like did you ever see Jeremy Renner's Dahmer movie?
I did. Yep.
Okay. Like that was an adaptation or like dramatization of Dahmer's life that like it didn't seem to glamorize anything. It didn't do a disjustice to anything. It really just tried to focus on Dahmer himself because most of his shit happened just when he was in isolation. And that's the more interesting avenue to see just personally how someone gets to that depraved of a level. So the family stuff was kind of interesting, but yeah, I'm just, and kind of what solidified that was like, you'd go on social media and there's a bunch of chicks being like, oh my God, Dahmer's so sexy. I'm just like, oh,
they did the same thing with the Ted Bundy series. That's not done by Ryan Murphy, but the Zac Efron one where he played Ted Bundy.
The movie. Yeah.
I think it was Netflix. Series or movie, one of the two. But yeah, where chicks are on like, you know, I could fix him. Dude was a serial killer and also hurt children as well. There are children.
Right. And a necrophile, like a self-confessed necrophile, which is crazy. But yeah, I remember that too. Like I could forgive the Bundy one a little bit more because Bundy very famously had a lot of chicks that were after him when he went to prison because they all saw him as really like Richard Ramirez was another one. He got a ton of fangirls after he went to prison. So it's like I could forgive that a little bit more because it's like it was historically accurate. I thought Zac Efron was actually perfect casting. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, no, I thought that was great. That's what I was expecting Monster to be like. These series segments, and to me, Ryan Murphy just goes for the shock value and over sexualizes horror with it. Right. Now I know sex and horror does go together, right? It's a lot of the times you get stories of like the final girl and you being a virgin, and if you have sex during horror movies, like it's his tale as old as time. But I feel Ryan doesn't respect the source material. He just goes for the shock value.
Yes.
And similar to you, I fell off after Hotel. That's where I fell off.
Was that the Lady Gaga season?
Yes. When they had the drilling pegging scene as the opener, where they had some demon had this like peg penis that had like it was going raping a woman with it, and it's just like
what?
Oh yeah, the opening scene of it is like this demonic spirit creature with this like strap on that's like has like spikes and stuff like that. And it's not a woman. I think it was actually a man that was raped in it, like opening scene. Because right, yes, yeah. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, Hotel American Horror Story. I don't want to search Peg, but
it'll come up with like top 12 pegging scenes in American Horror Story, because he's done it more than once.
Yeah, it's I'm 100. It's the end of the scene. Yeah, it's this like grotesque kind of monster thing. Here's and it's a dude that. No, I don't want to open that. You can kind of see it. I'm not showing anything that's I'm not showing the front, folks. I know some of you are like, wait a minute. But yeah, here. This like grotesque monster. Yeah.
What are we doing here? Like what?
And you know what? I always say, and my husband will be attest to this, every single time another season of American Horror Story comes out, I get roped right back in and I hate watch it because I just like, maybe it'll be better. Maybe he's learned his lessons. Nope, not at all. Instead of focusing on developing characters, the drill dick. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. For a second there, I was like, why is your PFP? Yes, that was it. He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I get locked in, and then I'm like, I like the story concept. Freak show, big disappointment to me. I think they could have done a lot. And what I was saying was, I think he focuses too much on the shock value and not actually developing these characters out or these stories.
Yep.
Just tries to put too much on top of each other. So when Dahmer first came out, I watched it and I was like, this is really disrespectful to the victims' families that are still around and stuff. Like these are monsters. It's the same thing with with this season, with the Ed Gein story. This is a monster. This is somebody who killed people, well, not as many people as the series is letting go, but who skinned people, who made furniture out of it. These are not, I had a bad upbringing, thus, I kicked a puppy. They actually did horrible things to individuals, and I don't like making them into sympathetic characters throughout it.
I was having this conversation with my husband as we were watching the first couple episodes, and he had mentioned, like, of all the like really famous serial killers, arguably Ed Gein is probably the one that you could be most sympathetic with, because everything in his background, in his upbringing, like he stood absolutely no chance whatsoever. And then all of his stuff really, because I don't know. So there's a book called Deviant by some Jewish dude. I can't remember his name. It came out in the 80s, though, and I've been listening to that audiobook while I go on my walks. And he like the first 2 chapters of that book, he goes into detail about what Wisconsin was like. What's up?
People listen to like normal shit like Harry Potter on walks. You're listening to Deviant.
It's interesting.
No, fair. Okay, go
ahead. So then we're going into like what Wisconsin as a state and what kind of like this general geographic area was like during the turn of the 20th century and whatnot. And Wisconsin has like this really dark history. And the point that he tries to, like, before Ed Gein even shows up on the map, the point the author tries to make, and this is something that you can even trace to like areas along the West Coast where the most infamous serial killers used as hunting grounds. It's that there's just kind of this like unintentional precedent that's almost set by areas that have experienced really dark, horrible things in their history, and that end up leaving just a permanent mark on the citizens throughout generations. And towards, I guess, when Ed Gein would have been born, there were like quite a few things that were going on in Wisconsin when he would have still been a boy. There was a lot of famine. There was a lot of arson. There were people going crazy because the economic situation was really bad. There were still some lynchings in his area as well due to land disputes. Then on top of that, it's just like there were new types of people that were flocking to this area as well. So you had this like this little town that you could literally walk across in a couple minutes suddenly was growing into this huge haven because land was so cheap, and it was bringing kind of its own devilry and progressiveness that all of these people were unaccustomed to. So when I was watching the first episode of this, I was thinking like, oh, okay, like we're starting off good, like you're establishing kind of like that isolated northeastern kind of wintry feel. You've got the set, like the set, like the house and everything down pat. This feels lonely because like Ed Gein, his mother moved him to that farm later in life with one of the goals of just completely isolating her and her sons from the rest of society, kind of deal.
Yeah, because she believed women were whores and Jezebel. Like that depiction in the story is
Works
pretty close to it.
Right.
I researched too, I guess the house, because if you look at the crime scenes of the actual farmhouse is different than what the house is portrayed. They actually were trying to almost mimic Psycho influence.
Yeah.
The Bates house setup, similar to what they did with the Ed Gein house, because throughout the series it's alluded that he's the one that influences the Psycho storyline, and then also Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that. So
yeah. So like first episode, I was pretty forgiving because also I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if you saw this too, but the production value seemed to be leaps over the first two series. Like I was genuinely impressed with the production value, and that stayed consistent throughout all 8 episodes. So like there is some praise to be given there, and all of the skin prosthetics were absolutely superb. Like that's some of the best skinned people I've ever seen in cinema. It's an odd thing to say, but
it's okay. The cinematography is great in this. Like you're saying, it leaps besides the Mendez brothers. But the Mendez brothers, if you watch it, I went back and watched a couple of episodes. There's a filtered or like a color scheme that they're trying to go for with
it's like that California sun sort of. Yeah.
And I think honestly that harms the series on depicting how dark that story is, and depicting the alleged abuse that their father gave. I feel like I'm watching something that should be Full House, but yet it's a dark storyline. So I'm with you, because with the cinematography for this season fits the story of this season. Like how and to me, I don't know if you notice, the lighting gets darker and darker throughout each episode.
I saw some people complain, oh, it's too dark. I'm just like, I was actually really glad that we had some dynamic, kind of faithful lighting. Like that's one of the great things I appreciated about Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, is like all of the lighting that you see in that movie is natural. You don't see anything blown up for the sake of like dramatization like the older adaptations did. So I was actually like, yeah, it was dark, but it like I was in the mood. It set the tone and the atmosphere so well, because like this was also a home that, like, with the progressive thing and with them being, completely isolated from the rest of the town, you get an honest feel for how disconnected Ed and Henry, to a certain extent, for the little bit that we see him, were from the rest of this very small town that they had garnered quite a reputation in. So,
well, let me pull up. I have slides like I do of it. Just to let the chat know, if you guys are going to be sticking around towards the end of our discussion, I do actually have real life crime scene photos, as well as the items that Ed made out of human skin as photos. So I do have those. I will give a warning to if anybody wants to dip out and not see those things. They are black and white photos as well, so I don't know if that helps. That helps me sometimes because there's not a color to them.
I did see someone like several years ago add color to them, like they recolorize them, and it's pretty disturbing. So
yeah, so trying to keep it as YouTube friendly as possible, but I do have the lamp that he did make. So
fun fact, because like I remember reading about the fire many years ago, but like I wanted to double check if they got that right, and it's true, everything did burn. There is one piece of Ed Gein evidence that did survive the fire. It was in like police custody or something like that. and it's at a true crime museum that's like 4 hours from me.
Oh,
right, along with Ted Bundy's VW.
That's
that's
I don't know if I would want to go because of the energy. It's why I wouldn't go to the Zach Baggins. Listen,
right.
I think Zach Baggins is full of shit, but he collects things that probably has whatever you believe energy that's attached to them. I've got enough bad energy in my life. I don't need more.
That's fair. Like I really do want to go. So like I guess like the next, and because that's like in Savannah, so that's closer to the coastline. That's kind of out of the way. But
yeah,
there's that, and the truck. The truck was actually sold to a private auction, but they've lost track of it since the 80s. So if it is still around, it's being kept secret by a private collector. But it's more likely that it probably has just, been recycled and perished. But yeah, you can see it's like a skin and hair, like fish hook or something like that Gein made that's at that museum.
I had nightmares after this.
Like the series, or
yeah, after watching this series, I've had nightmares for the last 2 nights.
Oh my god! About what? Like what are the nightmares about?
I'm just having nightmares that I'm imagining there's somebody in our bedroom just staring at us in the corner. And it just started after I finished watching this stuff.
Okay, well, don't watch Good Boy then. I guess those are the nightmares we're having.
That's fine. Good Boy is fictional. This is, though I think this is a heavy-handed fan fiction. It is based off actual events that happened. Whether he didn't have as many victims as the show is alluding to, at least not factually, but I because there's realism to it, it's why I can't really handle true crime very much. So it's because there's that's why I can't watch war movies, because there's realism to it.
It's too real. Like there's actually something that happened there. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, something. Yeah, so okay, so we are talking about Monsters, the Ed Gein story. So Ed was born August 27th, 1906 in La Crosse County, Wisconsin, born Edward Theodore Gein. He died July 26, 1984 in a mental institute in Wisconsin, and he's known as the Butcher of Plainfield. So this is an 8-hour series, 1 hour an episode. And boy, did it, to me at least, felt uncomfortable from the get-go. Like, it started off like, oh, this is kind of weird, but okay. And in the past, I have deep dived into true crime before. I used to listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. It wasn't until my mom died that after my mom died, I stopped listening to that kind of stuff. I don't know. It was just triggering in a sense. Yeah. It's just something about my mom passing away. This was kind of the stuff she was into. Just, I couldn't listen to people dying or hear about realism and stuff. So,
gotcha.
I agree with you when we were texting. The first 3 episodes are pretty solid establishing the characters and establishing Ed's background, especially with his mother, who's played by, oh fuck, what's her name? Hold on, apologies. Laura Metcalf, who,
yes,
if you don't know who that is, that's Aunt Jackie from Roseanne. So, I mean, I know she's won Emmys and awards and stuff for other things, but that's what I know her for.
She's a pretty established actress.
Yeah, she plays her mother, and Augusta, I believe, right? Yes. And Augusta had married Ed's father, who, in a sense, kind of ran out on them. Not really, but she kind of, in the show, it's depicted that she forced him out because he was a drunk and a deadbeat. I think she also established that women were Jezebels, whores. Her sons shouldn't touch women. It just leads to uncleanliness. And so she isolated her sons, like you were saying, from the rest of the town, and especially women, but especially hard on Ed. Ed worshipped his mother, loved his mother, admired his mother. So, and you can kind of see the influence of Psycho, but I read that this story was not what influenced Hitchcock to write Psycho and direct it. Did you?
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry, I read somewhere that it is fictional that this was utilized as an influence for Psycho.
No, that's not necessary. Like, okay, so the tie-ins that they do to Psycho, Texas Chainsaw, and Silence of the Lambs are fairly accurate. They just play up a lot of it. So
Okay.
like if we're looking at like inspirations or like dramatizations of Ed Gein's life, like Psycho probably arguably does the most justice to Ed's story. And I Bates Motel does a good job on like expanding that further, which like if no one's watched Bates Motel,
I've not.
oh
Is
my
it worth
God,
it?
watch Bates Motel. It is so
Okay.
good. For a spin-off series, it is so good. It's Norman before the events of Psycho,
Okay.
essentially.
Yeah, because Psycho's one of my favorite movies of like all
Oh,
time.
Vera Farmiga plays the mother, and
Oh.
was it that? Oh God, that kid that played the autistic doctor in The Good Doctor. He was in Finding Neverland as well. I can't remember. He was a cute kid, but he plays Norman Bates, and I was kind of iffy when I saw that casting, and he nails it. Like his career should be so much bigger than it is.
Okay.
But it's like every season is consistently good. Like there's not really a drop off. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I've been meaning to revisit the whole Psycho series for streams. So maybe what I'll do is just lead Bates Motel into that. Just do a little bit of coverage on the seasons of Bates Motel.
So good. Criminally underappreciated show.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so like it's like there are like accounts of Alfred Hitchcock, like because he did meet with the author who wrote the book Psycho in 1959, and they did discuss it and everything. So that's pretty accurate, but then they take a lot of liberties with basically everything after that. So Hitchcock being a peeping Tom and a pervert, and that's what inspired some of his films and whatnot, that's completely fictionalized. There's no rumors or like that even substantiate that at all. Anthony Perkins, who plays Norman Bates, like it was pretty well known that he was a homosexual, so that's not a new angle. But him having like this personal connection to the real Ed Gein, that there's a little bit of Ed Gein in him and all of this stuff, and then trying to work that narrative into, oh well, maybe Ed Gein wouldn't have skinned all these women if we just accepted sexual perversions a little bit more back then. So that's all just taking it to new levels that are straight up disrespectful. And like, I can't believe they even went as far as they did with like, this is the weird part. Cause like the first 3 episodes where they touch on the Hitchcock stuff, those are the strongest episodes, but they do such a huge disrespect to Hitchcock and Perkins and their legacy, and even just impart the legacy of this film. Cause normies are going to watch this and be like, oh my God, like, did he really like have all these, like, did he want to fuck dead bodies, or like was he peeping at people or what? So
yeah, that's Ryan Murphy though. That is exactly Ryan Murphy to a T in that. Instead of just honoring the source, and I get it, you've got to depict these shows a little bit because you want people to watch it, right? The shock value is why people turn into this, but it doesn't make sense to go as far as to. Sorry, my cat is just.
You're good.
Stop trying to eat plastic, you crazy. We think she's deaf now too. No. So Alzheimer's and deafness. What was it? Oh, Perkins being gay and such, and then depicting it as a sickness, right? Because that's how he's tied to Ed Gein. I think I laughed out loud abruptly because I'm like, what are you trying to do? Because Ryan Murphy is supposed to be some kind of like advocate for the LGBTQ community, right? But yet you're almost I don't know, harming it in a way with these storytellings of saying, because I picked it up on like, so is he saying people who are transgender or gay or something have a sickness, like they're gonna all end up like Ed Gein? Like what is going on here? I thought he's supposed to be an advocate for them.
I mean, it's kind of based in that regard if we take it that way, but like you're right. There's really no other way to look at this, because as each episode progresses and we start looking at the other films, like even so, once they get to because my husband's favorite movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's got a massive leather face tattoo on his forearm and everything. Like he's a huge fan. So when they got to the Texas Chainsaw bit, he was just like, okay, I mean, they got like some of what Tobe Hooper's like inspiration and idea what about like behind Leatherface and all that stuff was, but like they still leave out a lot, and they really dramatize quite a bit of what he originally thought and what the message was behind the IP and all that stuff. So he was really disappointed with that. He wasn't a huge fan of how, like, when he's in that the makeup trailer, right, and he's looking at the prosthetic, and he starts going on about like how how Leatherface is like, he's an enigma because he's like the housewife that, you know, you all want to be, and he's also, you know, the butcher that we all like, just this amalgamation of different figures, but it was put through like almost a gender stereotype lens, which was really strange. Like, it was trying to humanize this like terrifying villain that, first of all, didn't need to be humanized, but second of all, even in the film, he's not really humanized. He, like, Leatherface is one of those perfect examples of everything you could ever fear in man come to life. You don't need any more depth to that, right? So, like, that was a weird angle. And then by the time that they get to Silence of the Lambs, which was the most disappointing, because I don't know if you noticed, but almost every single episode had moths in the background at some point.
Yes, I noticed
so I
that.
thought Right. So I thought that, okay, they're going to lead to something really fucking big with Silence of the Lambs, because they were teasing it more than the chainsaws.
You blink, you miss it.
Pardon?
You blink, you miss it for the Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
Right. So by the time we get to it, just like the only connection that they make to Ed Gein is the fucking mirror tuck scene. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I burst out laughing at like 3 a.m. at the graveyard scene in the final episode.
Dude, go back and watch that. Okay, listen, the graveyard scene in the final episode where it's a bunch of kids, and I get it, it's supposed to show because Ed's stone was people would chip it off to take it back as which, by the way, what psycho is doing this?
Oh, you know what? It's super popular with a ton of it's insane how popular. There's a ton of serial killers that have unmarked graves because of this reason. There's some like turn of the century serial killers that were buried under like feet of cement to keep grave diggers and, you know, fans and true crime enthusiasts from digging up. But it's a surprisingly common thing.
But if you watch that scene, there's the dude with the pencil mustache, and he sees Anthony Perkins. He sees Texas. I swear that has to be in some way Oz, because I've read Oz's Oz Perkins, Anthony's son, because I've read his interviews and stuff, and the turmoil that him and his brother went through with his mother, and his dad being I don't think closeted, but closeted homosexual, and the back and forth that they had. I'm like, is this just showing generational trauma that's just led down because of Ed Gein? And I was like, this is dumb. But he looks like him. Pencil mustache. He looks like a young Oz Perkins. I think it is.
I don't see it. Like I'm looking at it right now because I just opened Netflix to take a look, and I'm not.
I don't know why I see it. I don't know. I was like, all right, guys, I get it. I can understand if Ed is related in any way, but what is going on? What is going on with this perversion attempt of making it seem like this is okay? This is cool. Let's just accept it. People won't get hurt. People won't die and stuff. And it's not. These people, I understand where you were coming from earlier on when you said the only out of all 3 of them, he probably should be the most sympathetic character, like get the most sympathy because of his upbringing. Too, I don't know. It takes a lot to skin somebody and make a lamp out of them.
Oh, for sure. And this is like where my biggest problem is with this entire series is like, I understand if you're trying to avoid just being Psycho or Bates Motel, because those basically focused on just, you know, Norman and his mother, right? So I can understand that you're trying just not to repeat like Traveled Ground or whatever, but there's so much that Psycho and Bates Motel still leave out about Augusta Gein and about how he grew up and whatnot that you could still explore. This really should have been like 5 episodes at most, and most of them should have been just about his relationship with his mother and how that was so powerful in framing who he ended up becoming. Because she dies at the end of the first episode.
Yep.
She has her stroke and dies.
I think it's the second one, because I think his brother is the first episode.
Okay.
So in the first episode, it's depicted that he kills his brother because his brother wants to leave and marry a divorced woman. And at the time, being divorced was seen as a big, like, haram, sin. And Ed hits him with a log, and he causes a fire, which, by the way, dumbest autopsy ever. Yeah, well, asphyxiation by the fumes from the fire, not the big gaping hole in the back of his head. Like,
yeah, I thought that was funny, but like I was okay with it, because when you think about how small of a town this is, like, it makes sense how they would just make an assumption and just kind of brush off the rest, especially because like Ed at this point is not like a very suspicious figure to anyone. He's just like the kind of retarded dude that lives with his moms.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, he's not harmful. Like, they don't see him as harmful, but it's never in real life. It's never proven that he actually killed his brother. It's alluded to, but there's no evidence. Whatever evidence burned up in that fire that was caused when they found the body. So, but the opening for this in the first episode caught me off guard when I'm watching Charlie. I think it's is his last name? Hunnam, who is a very good looking man in women's panties, jacking it off with asphyxiation. Like, what's it?
Autoerotic asphyxiation. Yeah.
Yes. That threw me off. I was like, whoa. All right, we're into it. What do you think of Charlie as Ed? Because there's been other depictions of him.
He was great. I like the prosthetic on him to make him look more like Ed, with the eye and then the ears a little bit. I thought he looked great. Just why did they have to pick such a sexy actor? Like, it's sexy Ed Gein, you know what I mean? It's so weird, but I had no problem. Yeah, I had no problem with his portrayal at all. Like, Charlie Hunnam's, I never watched Sons of Anarchy. Did you?
No.
Okay.
Maybe the first season, a couple episodes, but kind of dropped out.
Okay.
But it's very popular.
Yeah, and people keep recommending it to me, but like, I just know him from, like, I love Pacific Rim, so I know him from that. And he was in the Apple series Shantaram, and I thought he was amazing in that. So I was like, oh, this dude's like a legitimate character actor. So I wasn't like upset with the casting when I heard about this, but my immediate thought was like, oh, he's gonna be sexy Ed Gein. And they have him naked an awful lot in this, which I thought was really strange.
He lost 30 pounds for this role.
Yeah. I thought it was really weird that he was naked for so much of it. Like, there's a lot of time spent with him in women's lingerie, which is completely fictionalized. Like, there was no evidence to show that Ed was into that kind of thing whatsoever. So that's just an angle that, like, was born out of the myth of Ed Gein, because there were so many rumors about him, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I had no problem with the voice either. Like, if this were just a better series, just have him cast again and make it a better series, we're good. Totes good. Here. I'd happily see him again.
I have this.
Okay.
It's a 45-second.
How long did it take for you to craft Ed's voice?
2 straws, please.
The voice was really important. How do we
He is a sexy man.
He's a very attractive man. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's British, which was impressive. But when you listen to him now, I feel like he's losing his accent a little bit.
Manifest and bring forth this guy's soul and spirit and trauma and struggle in the way he communicates with the world. There's just this constant desire for acceptance. And I thought that a lot of his behavior would grow inauthentically out of his desire to be the person that he thought his mother wanted him to be. And that was as much like a girl as possible. So it was kind of took some courage on my part, because I felt like this voice is going to feel inauthentic. It's not going to feel like it belongs in his body. And yet that's what I wanted.
I'm actually totally okay with the voice, because even like, there's accounts from Augusta in real life because she really did hate sex, like even in the marital sense. She was like, you only have sex to procreate. You don't even have it recreationally, even if you're married, sort of deal. And she really did not like men. She was always very critical of men. From the moment she and her husband got married, she was super critical of him. Like, it was not a happy marriage whatsoever. She didn't want to have another son. Like, she was so disappointed that she had Henry, and here she comes up with another son. So like, the voice makes sense because she so desperately wanted a girl, someone innocent.
There's a trend going around now on TikTok of wives watch true crime of doing that voice around.
That's amazing.
My husband, because Chris doesn't like this stuff. Chris, I think casually watched the first episode, and then when we get to Charlie completely naked or in like women's pants, he was like, "Yeah, I'm out."
That's fair.
Like, okay.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
But he's like, "What the hell's with this voice?" So I do actually have Ed Gein's real voice. Thing shot in me.
You work all night at that then? I should think the athlete. That's right. What we could do with the sexual part.
You can kind of hear it.
One was painted.
Yeah.
Oh, that one, when they died. Yeah.
So I think he did. I think he did nail it on the voice. It just threw me off because prior to this, all I had listened to were just, like true crime podcasts. Ed Gein's never been a topic that I've gone searching for. If it comes up, it comes up. But I was like, what's going on here? What's with this? Like, but it makes sense that the innocence trying to portray like almost a little girl the whole time for his mother. So his mother does die in the second episode. Sorry to spoil everybody. Based off true events where she did have a stroke. In the show, she went to go collect money from a neighbor who she saw who they came upon, who was about to drown their dog to death or beat their dog to death and
drown the puppy. Yeah.
This is based off real life testimony that they did go to a neighbor. The neighbor was beating the dog to death and she did die, which left Ed alone because he didn't have his brother no longer, or Ed had his mother. So he started to be haunted throughout the series by her voice, which I thought was like, oh, this is really psycho. This is pretty. I was like, okay, maybe I will be interested in Bates Motel. Maybe I'll really like it. But there are some liberties that they take with some of the characters too, especially, and I think where's she? This, by the way, the Nazi storyline didn't make sense to me.
Like that. This is kind of why my husband kind of dipped out, like partway into episode 3, because he was just like, okay, like we know that Ed was into this kind of stuff. That's fair, but like now you're spreading this out for filler at this point. Like you have to hit that 8 episodes no matter what. This was not necessary whatsoever.
So in the show, he's interested by Ilsa
Kosh.
Thank you. Ilsa Kosh, who's like the butcher of... Oh, I have my notes somewhere. Hold on. Ilsa Kosh. She was a Nazi who experimented on Jewish people. She tended to like the more tattooed ones, would like skin them as well and such. And in the show, it depicted her in a comic book that was given to Ed.
Which was real, by the way. Those comics were real.
Yeah. Bitch of Bunchwad. I don't know how to...
Buchenwald, I think it was.
Buchenwald.
Yeah.
Buchenwald. And I did not like the cut back and forth of it. I understand what trying to go to, but I felt that the Nazi storyline didn't go anywhere. And then towards the end, where he is dying in the mental hospital and having conversations, obviously it shows that he's having conversations in his head with her. I felt like, this is dragged out too much. This is just like, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Like, it would make more sense if he was talking to his mother, like the ghost of his mother, versus her.
Agreed. The other thing too is because the way the show kind of plays with this is that Ed didn't get this idea on his own or this fascination on his own. It was I keep forgetting her name. It's a Watkins. What was this chick's name again?
Adeline
Adeline
Watkins. Yes.
There we go. Like it was just like, oh, every weird and perverse thing that he thought about, it was all because of Adeline. It was because of this other woman that wasn't his mother. So they take away a lot of autonomy from Ed in that regard. But also like all of the stuff that we see Ilsa do, it doesn't really relate to anything that you even see him do later in the show, which is like equally strange. So it makes sense if just here and there, like especially when he's reading the comics, you just kind of drift off maybe to a moment of him imagining her in a room or him, maybe cutting up people next to her, like in an actual, Nazi chamber or whatever. That would make a lot more sense than the storyline that explores a character that thinks nothing like Ed, acts nothing like Ed. They don't even have the same reaction to like butchering bodies the same way as well. So it's very disjointed. And then to add on to that, I don't know if you noticed it, but I did. When they do the jump cuts between timelines, they seem to forget all about them in some episodes, which I thought
continuity?
No, yeah, like so like when it flashes to Alfred Hitchcock, there's no time jump whatsoever. It just happens. But then I think it was in the second episode or the third episode, it flashes to 1964 or something like that. And we're still in the Alfred Hitchcock storyline. And they do that again with Tobe Hooper, and then they don't do that at all with Silence of the Lambs.
They do that with Ted Bundy too. They flash over to it. Yeah. There's no definitive cut to the timeline. Is that what you're saying?
It's if you're a normie and you don't know any of like the true crime stuff, it would be very hard to follow. It is not well edited. That's the problem.
Gotcha.
Right?
It feels like one storyline, one where you're on the same story where it's I get what you're saying.
Just put the little year cards on the front, right? Like that's a very effective tool to use for the jump cuts. And they don't do that consistently when they switch up the timeline. And then they mix up the timeline for Ed's actual crimes, which muddles things even more. So this was edited in a very strange way.
Did you notice also with Adeline? So Adeline is depicted as a girl that he has a romantic relationship with the show. In actuality, historical reference interviews about her, but there was no extent or nature of a long-term romance. In the show, she's depicted as like, the small-time girl who's a little weird, who wants to get out of the city, wants to become a photographer. She's okay with him killing people, I guess, and such. But if you notice in the last episode when he's dying and she comes to visit him, she hasn't aged because she's a depiction of she's an imaginary friend. But you know what? Not a lot of people would have noticed that. Not a lot of people would have just thought, okay, maybe she just takes really good collagen and she's aging really well.
I thought that was so weird. She looked exactly the same in every regard. And I was like immediately just like, oh, he's imagining her. That's not a real one.
Yeah. But yeah, there's no this back and forth relationship. There's no influence of her and such. He did dig up bodies. He did dig up bodies and experimented and did stuff with those bodies. There's only one supposed victim, which is Mary. Is it Mary Hoggins?
Mary Hogan was one of them. I can't remember the other one's name.
Mary Hogan was the tavern lady in the show.
Yeah.
It didn't go along as the show depicts it. Her head was found among the crime scene. Bernice Warden was the big one. That was the one. Yeah. So Warden's body was found decapitated in Gein's shed. Search of the farmhouse uncovered human remains, body parts, artifacts. He confessed to grave robbing in the 2 murders. He did confess to other murders that were then proven later that he didn't do those, or like there was no factual evidence to it. In the show, they depict like he had this romantic relationship with her and then basically freaked out and shot her because hearing the voices of his mother in her head calling her a whore and a Jezebel. We should bring back Jezebel. I feel like that should be brought back.
I think the term's unfortunately been co-opted by a feminist news website called The Jezebel.
Man.
Yeah.
Let's reclaim it. It was our word first.
Wait
a minute.
No, hold on. Yeah. Hold on.
Wait a minute. Never mind.
It's a cool sounding word, though. I will agree with you there.
It is. I do have. Where is she? And there is allude to the babysitter killing too as well. He did babysit kids, by the way.
But everyone said he was a great babysitter, but they decide to fuck around with that for reasons.
Well, I could see him relating to kids more so because of I would say he's almost stunt growth, right? Based off how his
extremely. Yeah.
So relating to kids who children aren't, seen as the innocence of our society, I can see where he would get along with it. It's not depicted in the show where he takes them off and does like this Silence of the Lambs, show for them wearing somebody's face and skin body parts and then brings them back. I mean, come on.
By the way, that scene did actually scare me. Like, I knew that it wasn't real at all, but because the lighting compared to how innocent these kids were and then how good the prosthetics were leading up to that scene actually did like terrify me. So I will give some kudos for that jump scare, that genuine jump scare.
Where his head pops out and he's wearing a different mask. Yeah.
Right. And that like oh god, because the skin mask is so good. Like if you told me that was real, I would believe it.
Well, we got some pictures later on. So he between 1947 to 1957, that's when he was doing his grave robbing and descended into madness. So he would craft items from the corpse. So he would exhume graves of women who reminded him of his mother. Again, idolized his mother, loved his mother. I don't know if maybe loved his mother to a degree that's unhealthy. So he would craft bowls, masks, furniture, even a skin suit. So very much so, like the show depicts. Locals described him as odd but harmless, working odd jobs and babysitting neighbor children. So 1954 was the first known murder. That was Mary Hagen, the tavern in Plainfield, disappears. Locals joke that Ed probably took her, unaware it was true, and her head was later found wrapped in a paper bag in Ed's house. So not so much how it's depicted in the show where he shoots her and then just takes her back. Because did you feel, I know it's a small town, but come on, you see a trail of blood leading out to that. You can't put two and two together that somebody took the body or some,
Yeah,
or
I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Because in this scene, it's they're like, hey, we saw Ed's truck outside this episode. We think we saw Ed's truck outside. They follow the trail outside. There's blood. He's basically, the blood's trailing out. They go visit him. They don't even do a home inspection. They just go like, oh, okay, Ed, you're just with your... And this whole time during the show, his mother does die, but it's not known in the town. Obviously, because the sheriff doesn't know. I don't know how that's possible in a small town like this. But when they go visit him, he always plays that his mother is upstairs. So similar to Psycho in Norman Bates, where portraying that mother's sick, mother, doesn't want to see anybody. She's just, she's upstairs. He's hearing things in his voice. And I know it's depicting that he imagines that his mother's still alive, that she's not dead. And the first instant of that was the first episode with his brother. After he killed his brother, he then sees his brother alive, but it's not really his brother. I'm like, you guys are shitty sheriffs.
Yeah, that was a creative choice that I really didn't understand. Because again, it's intentionally making the police dumb so that Ed can get away with these things, when in reality, it really isn't that far-fetched for an individual who people aren't suspecting of in a town where there's barely anyone there, who also with all of these large isolated farm properties everywhere. It's not that ridiculous to think that someone was especially when this is not a norm. Crime is not a normal occurrence in such a town. So why would they be looking for that? I wasn't a fan of how they portray, because it also does some injustice to Bernice's son in that, because they did kind of get some of that accurate about how traumatized the entire experience left, but they kind of took away the anger. Like, he was apparently in real life extremely angry with Ed and had physically assaulted him during his arrest as well, because he was the town firefighter. So it takes away from the power of some of those reactions, and it also kind of takes away from just kind of like the general setting that this is all taking place, which again leads back to, if this were just a show that focused mainly on his relationship with his mother, then all of the hard-hitting emotional stuff that all of these townspeople and secondary characters would experience would be a lot more horrifying and hit a whole lot harder, rather than just trying to shock us with every single thing you can think of that was a rumor about Ed Gein.
Yep. So we get to 1957, where he was captured in the second murder. So November 16, 1957, Bernice, the hardware store owner, disappears. Unlike the series, the police find a receipt for antifreeze and trace it back to Ed. So that's how he's caught. Upon searching his farmhouse, they uncover a scene of unimaginable horrors. So they have Bernice's body is found decapitated, gutted, and hung upside down. So similar to with the show. And I agree with you. These prosthetics were 10 out of 10. Right. All of them, down to the fake bodies, and even the materials that are utilized to make the furniture and stuff looks great. Especially the nipple chair.
God, what is that, Ed? Oh, it's a like an udder, you dumb fucking bitch. Oh my God.
The home is filled with human remains, masks, organs, skulls, and that are used as decor. Now, in the show, it's a little messy, but in real life, it looks like a hoarder's house. It really does. I believe he moves himself to a very small area of the house where he is living in it, but the outside of that area is just hordes of garbage and just body parts and stuff.
Again, if they just focus on his mother, then you can build the house up as this genuine house of horrors, which I really do feel was also skated over. Because after his mother died, he boarded off all of the areas of the house that his mother regularly frequented, including the upstairs. So that would, again, build, like, we see a bit of that when you see Anthony Perkins, like, in the show, walk through the house replica. You get a feel of it a little bit there, but yeah, the House of Horrors is really downplayed because that's like the most infamous thing about Ed Gein.
Yep. And I do have real life like photos of the inside of the house and such. But here is Warden's son, Bernice Warden, who he was a firefighter in real life, but in the show he's depicted as a detective finding his mother's body hung upside down.
A pussy is what he is in the show.
Oh, and then did you like Chris walked in on the scene where Anthony Perkins finds 9 vulvas.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Obscene vulvas, just like in the scene where he takes one of the vulvas and puts it in his own underwear.
That was strange. Like, to be fair, like that was a creative liberty I could understand when you look at like the skin suits.
Yeah.
But it was still uncomfortable to see dramatized so graphically.
The show made me so uncomfortable, and it takes a lot to make me uncomfortable, especially when it's like a fictional show, especially if it's Ryan Murphy. But I was mad of how uncomfortable I felt because like this is just going too far. Like this, there's ways to do this, maybe with a little bit more class. I don't know. But I was just unnerved entirely, not because I was enjoying the show, because sometimes I watch horror movies, Terrifier. I'm unnerved by it, but I'm enjoying it. This, I'm not I didn't enjoy after episode 4. After episode 4, I was like, this is, let's just push through the last 4 episodes. I can't spread this out anymore. And then I was talking to Katie from Doolies. And she's like, how's the show? I was like, I don't even remember anything of it. And I just finished it yesterday.
I remember too much of this show.
Well, I remember more so doing the research of the real life Ed Gein while I was listening and stuff. That shit's terrifying. This show, I don't like how over sexualized everything Ryan Murphy has to touch. And I don't know. I'm not a prude at whatsoever. Like I can hang with the best of them, I guess. But this is just, there's something about it that just makes me unnerved the whole time.
There's some lines that shouldn't be crossed, and there were quite a few lines here that should not have been crossed. Like seeing like because other films and shows have done it too. You can allude to necrophilia, that's fine. Just cut away the camera. But I do not need I do not need to witness Ed Gein or Ted Bundy fully fucking corpses. I do not need to see that. That is already a terrifying enough idea as it is to like imagine someone doing. I don't need to see the cut off vulvas thing. Like that was one of those things where I just leave the box like that. Just leave it at the shot with the detectives looking in the box. Don't show what's in the box because you don't need to see that, right? Like, but then there's other horrors that they completely skip out on, like all of the skin furniture, and the suit seems to be completely glossed over as well. It's just, it's strange where they decide to take the liberties and where they decide to hold themselves back creatively, which is, yeah, the Ted Bundy like scene. I fucking hated that. But that entire last episode is probably the worst episode of television I've ever seen. And I haven't been paying for Netflix for whenever the Cuties thing happened. I think that was 2021. I canceled Netflix after that, but my parents still pay for Netflix, so occasionally I will use that. But now I'm just like at the point where, okay, after watching this, I'm just not even going to use that app for free. Like, why would you make this?
After our Stranger Things coverage is done, I'm done with Netflix. I'm done with it. The problem with it is that I know I could sail the high seas, but I run a show every Friday, so I can't like guarantee the episode will be out by then. You know what I mean? Especially how many hours is it? But I agree with you. The next one is supposed to be Lizzie Borden. Yeah, that's the next series for this. Yeah. And I agree with you. Like the vulva thing and such, I agree with you. Leave some of this stuff to your audience's imagination. They will fill in the worst thing that's ever happened to them in these scenes, and you will get still the shock value, and people will discuss it.
Sorry, I just have to go back to that because the only reason they chose Lizzie Borden is because it was suspected that she might have had a lesbian relationship with a friend. And the last movie that was on her, like there was
not a lot of people know that. Yeah,
a gay romance. Yeah, it's like she was, because Lizzie Borden, if I remember correctly, she didn't have an interest in men, and I don't recall her getting married. But a lot of people speculated that she might have been a lesbian because she had an abnormally close relationship with a female friend that people noted. Yeah, it's just going to be scissoring. It's going to be Ryan Murphy scissoring for 8 episodes.
Well, even in this, I don't think Ed was depicted as gay. I don't think he was gay because obviously he liked women in some fashion, but he was almost depicted like a transsexual, right? Not transgender, transsexual.
Transsexual or transvestite. Like, well, yeah, and that's the weird line that they blur too when like there's in that stupid fictionalized conversation that he has with the tranny star Christine Jorgensen or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's gynophilia, which is like basically that like you have this abnormal attraction to the opposite sex so much that you want to be like, you want to penetrate them more than just in a sexual manner. It's like, how do I explain this? Like, it's like you want to be in them completely, but not actually be them, sort of deal. Like you don't want to be opposite gender. You just want to be in them and control of them at whatever cost. And that I feel makes far more sense with all of the evidence that we do have about Ed, with his obsession with his mother, with how he was isolated with his mother, with his obsession with older women in particular and using them to make all the female skin suits and whatnot. Right. So I don't like how they took it. There's no evidence he liked to wear chicks' panties.
And really?
There's no evidence whatsoever. And them turning Bernice Warden, the hardware store owner, into the town bicycle. If I were a living relative of that woman alive today, I would be suing the pants off of fucking Netflix or Ryan Murphy or whoever was behind this. Like, that is a severe disservice to someone's legacy and livelihood to just make them a slut.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird that every single woman that he had any type of relationship with this entire series was, in a sense, either the town slut or a harlot or divorcee or the weird one. You know, there wasn't a woman that was depicted as just normal, and I use that like a quote, just a normal everyday woman. You know what I mean? Even the tavern woman was portrayed as a madam.
Yeah, she was a former prostitute. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even Adeline, we learned that Adeline's just a raging slut as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
But-
like, bruh, what is going on here? Like, and this, I think you could agree with these creative choices a little bit more if you spent more fucking time on his relationship with his mother. Like, even her just showing up as an apparition is almost completely forgotten halfway into the series until the last episode.
Which the last episode made me very mad. So when he ends up, finally, they capture him, they put him into the mental institute. We get a bullshit Temu Mindhunters cameos. And supposedly Ed was interviewed by them to help capture Ted Bundy. That's fictional. That never happened. He never helped them capture Ted Bundy.
He never talked to the FBI, period.
Yeah. That's all fake. And the whole time I'm thinking, I'm watching this and I'm like, why the fuck are you guys giving Ryan Murphy money? Give the whole cast, the whole crew of Mindhunters, whatever number they want to bring it back. Whatever number they want, put it on the table instead of wasting your money with stuff like this. I don't know why. Because the last...
Sorry, finish your thought.
No, that's yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just I don't get it either because even David Fincher keeps saying like, "Oh, it was too expensive," and then they spent like $250 million on that dumb fucking assassin movie with Michael Fassbender, the killer. And it's like, yeah, you could have spent like half of that on a third season of Mindhunter. Like, what are we doing? There must be some other reason that they're not telling us, because all of the cast and the crew, even Charlize Theron, who was a producer, they've all said ever since the cancellation, like, yeah, we're ready to come back. So
yeah,
but yeah, this Temu Mindhunter, like, you could have at least made them different characters, like different, because they just try to be Bill Tench and
yeah, it looked, and I
can't remember. Yeah, and they even acted the same way. And then to make matters even worse, they get back the same actor that played Jerry Brudos in Mindhunter to play Jerry, to reprise the role here, and they do the whole shoe thing again. Go ahead.
And the Manson too. It's the same.
Is it the same guy?
Yeah, because he did also Once Upon a Time.
Okay, I wasn't aware of the Manson because he looked a little bit different, so I didn't think that was the same guy. It definitely was a different guy playing Richard Speck though, and that was a weird. Like, it's clear that they only chose Richard Speck specifically because Richard Speck did in real life take hormones secretly while he was in prison to develop breasts. Mm-hmm. So like that was accurate, but I did not need to see him getting reamed out by a big black cock. That was not necessary.
I was wondering why they put that in there. I'm like, why am I watching him bent over on all fours getting fucked up the ass and these again, this is what was making me uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable with sexuality. This is just grotesque depiction of stuff that just didn't need to be on the screen. Because to be honest, why was that scene important? Just to show him being railed? Like, okay.
It really wasn't. And then him having this whole letter that Ted Bundy allegedly wrote him that told him his name, his type of car, like gave away all of this super specific information that was absolutely ridiculous. You're telling me that the FBI in the 70s were not reading people's mail still when there had been many cases where people were sending illicit things in the mail? Get the fuck out of here. Also, get the fuck out of here.
I did not like that when he was depicted of him dying, it's almost like he's going to heaven and he sees his mom at the end. Like, I get it. He's a sympathetic character, right? But he still killed people and skinned people and did things to bodies. And
this was literally my face that entire segment. I was just looking at my screen like that. I'm like, okay, again, like I understand because I really do believe that Ed Gein, if you want to make a sympathetic serial killer story, he might be the best one. But again, you have to do that work of really going through his early years and his relationship with his mother in order to get there. And just, okay, chat, I'm going to describe this for those that haven't watched it. Okay, so spoiler alert. So basically, because Ed in this fictionalized retelling, because Ed gave them all the details they needed to catch Ted Bundy, Ed was like, oh, I finally redeemed myself for the crimes I've committed, for all those bodies I fucked and whatnot. So on his deathbed, he closes his eyes and like he's going through a hallway now surrounded by all of the psych nurses who, by the way, didn't suspect anything of him. Just like, oh, Ed, you're too nice to be a serial killer. So all of those nurses are just around him and smiling and touching him and everything. And then halfway down the hall, he becomes surrounded by serial killer, like real serial killers that have like quoted Ed as being like an inspiration or an idol to them, also calling Ed a wonderful person. And then Ed comes to some stairs and it becomes like the imagined wedding scene from the end of Titanic, where Ed goes up the stairs and his mother is standing there in a white dress. And instead of being the mean woman we saw the entire time, now she's super nice because that's how Ed saw her. But we don't see Ed see her like this for the entirety of the series prior to this, which again is quite jarring if you don't know the history. Mm-hmm. And then Ed dies. That's how he dies. Like, he's found redemption and his mother apparently went to heaven. And the entire time this is happening, Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes is playing in the background.
Yep.
What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know what is with the whole like serial killers being, because these are I've always been under these are horrible people who did horrible things to humanity. These are the worst of humanity. These people should not be praised.
Yes.
I understand depicting them in media and having it, because these are stories that should be told as history, right? People should be aware of this because you can study these individuals and you can see the signs of people now. I mean, nowadays it's probably really hard to be a serial killer with the internet and all this stuff, but I digress. But it's this like almost, I don't know, fandom of it. The whole like wearing Ted Bundy shirts and wearing like Manson shirts and stuff like that, and having little avatars with hearts around them and stuff, not realizing these people destroyed families for generations. Like, I bring it back to even the Ted Bundy scene. The Ted Bundy scene took me completely out of it.
Me too.
I almost texted you. I was like, fuck this, we're not covering this, I'm over it. Even though we were already so far down in it. To watch him not only have two victims, these were two of his youngest victims. These were children, in a sense. Yeah. One of them was a child. Yeah. To watch him come back to these scenes and to watch him drop trow to fuck a corpse, I'm like, what are we doing here?
Those actresses were fucking terrible, by the way. Like, that took me out of the scene more because they're crying, but there's no tears. So I was like, oh, come on, girls. Like, you're about to get fucked by Ted Bundy. You can cry. It's fine. But yeah, like the most terrifying thing about Ted Bundy was the fact that he would go back like very regularly months later to spots where he dumped bodies just to have sex with those bodies. Like, I genuinely find that to be the most terrifying thing, to imagine someone just going in the dark of night to just find these bodies that you'd already defiled and viciously murdered just to get your rocks off. That's really creepy to me. Mm-hmm. And to see that get dramatized with, like you said, Bundy's youngest victims, that's crazy. That's really crazy to do. Yeah. Also, on the note of the hard to be a serial killer these days, I think the last estimate the FBI put out is that there's like at any one time at least 50 serial killers active in the United States alone.
That's interesting to me because there's such a drive, at least in the last 10 years with the internet, of people becoming vigilante groups of like solving case murders and stuff. So it's interesting to me that people think they can still get away with stuff.
I think because there's. Oh, go ahead.
Because back during Bundy, all these infamous, serial killers, it was hard to trace back. Like, DNA didn't exist at the time, right, for a couple of them and such. So it's interesting to take the risk now.
There's a couple factors. Like, the one that I see on like a lot of true crime forums is that truckers are the biggest one. Like, it's easy to kidnap a person and not have any connection to the area, the victim, or the killer, like to have any connection to that era. And then there's also like the instances of just like going across the border, either the north or the south one. Like, recently there was a body that was identified after like 60 years or something in Ontario. And it turned out it was a guy from like Ohio or something. And they never thought to look at this unidentified John Doe for almost 60 years because they didn't think that he made it there. So like I've noticed like when people try to connect the dots for these missing persons, there's a lot of like they don't think of looking out of state or at least, you know, across the country. Like that was a really big deal with oh God, what's the one I'm thinking of? The ice cream shop murders that recently just got solved because of DA evidence.
The yogurt murders?
The yogurt shop murders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like nobody thought to look out of state for like a potential serial killer or connection. And bam, there it was. It was the same thing with Ted Bundy. It took them a very long time to realize that Bundy's crimes were not just isolated to one state, but it was the same perpetrator in like 3 or 4 different states. Like Israel Keys is really famous for that too. Like he lived in one area, but he made sure that all of his crimes were committed in completely different states. There's some suspected ones in Canada. There's definitely suspected ones in the Middle East too, because he served in the army for a short period of time. So the borders thing and just sharing that information, because like the other thing too that I don't think a lot of people realize about true crime is like in most cases, like jurisdictions and like different counties don't want to share because there's a conflict of interest, and then things get muddled and there's inconsistency in the way an investigation is handled, which is like in a lot of cases, like you'll see if a murder happens locally and the FBI gets involved, the local police departments usually don't like it because the FBI will just completely take everything and kind of botch whatever trail that they're on and whatnot. So there's a lot of ways you can definitely still be a serial killer today, but yeah, you have to yeah, you got to be a lot more careful now that there's cameras and DNA tracking and whatnot. Because even
the same thing happened with the Golden State Killer too, that was caught recently in the last 5 years after that book came out. Patton Oswalt's not ex-wife, but his dead wife's book that came out about it, and then due to her like investigation and stuff with the local police. But one of the big problems with reading that book was police didn't like to work together. Different counties did not like to work together.
It's a very common thing. Yeah. Like even the Gilgo Beach murder, he wasn't caught until 2021, I feel like it was. And he was still killing well into the 2018, 2019 years.
Do you remember, I don't know if you did, but you were never on TikTok. A couple years back, like 2 or 3 years ago, there was an alleged serial killer in Chicago that this guy was hunting down. Like this one content creator who was like, guys, like there's weird murders happening here and here and here. Come to find out, he was fabricating the whole thing.
Wait, he was fabricating like that where there were bodies popping up, or that he was actually killing people and pretending not to be a serial killer?
That there was actual bodies and all this stuff popping up.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Like
but it was a big thing. It sent people down. Like people from Chicago were sharing it with me, and it's back and forth. And like, women were warning each other, like, don't walk alone at night here and stuff. And come to find out, it was completely fabricated.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. How do you? Oh God, the internet has churned out some of like the worst behaviors possible in people. Like the fact that you're willing to fabricate something like that just for internet clout is insane to me.
It's because you don't deal with people who are affected by this in your everyday life. Like you don't have to see their faces. So if you are fabricating a story or if you're doing something to someone, you don't see the results of it. Why does it matter, right? You're just doesn't affect your everyday life. So what does it matter affect, putting it out there? And I think people just lose a sense of dignity and respect for other people.
Which that really is a shame, because you think that would just speak to someone's like common decency as an individual. Like it's like how there's just some things that you don't say out loud sort of deal, right? But like people have just completely lost. It's like we've lost a very big part of our own humanity, which is really sad to hear.
Yeah. Well, on the screen on the left-hand side is the news article for when he was arrested, and as well as on the right is his house, the actual house that eventually burned down with all the evidence to it. So titles like Plainfield Man confesses one. Trigger warning too. I'm going to be showing some of the crime scenes.
You can visit the site where that house is, by the way. And they have not built anything on it since. It's just down like a little quiet dirt road, and it's just a gated off grass patch now that's overgrown with trees as well. But you can visit where this house was.
I can't imagine the type of energy that is just sitting there on that land.
You know,
And just-
Nadia, I want to do like a serial killer hotspot road trip with my husband at some point. So I'll make sure to share all the energy readings with you as I go.
I grew up in Chicago. We would go to a very well-known haunted cemetery where Al Capone supposedly dropped bodies in the little pond area that was there.
That's
there
crazy
as well. Yeah, I mean, come on, I'm from Chicago. Al Capone left and right. The murder happening left and right in Chicago as a history of it. It's too. And like we would and my sister ran one of the biggest like paranormal group for a long time in Indiana. They would go to a rundown insane asylum that they would go test. They would basically bring newbies to see if they can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is well documented that they would be pushed, shoved. My sister was bit, scratched, just with nobody around and stuff. And like this is like a decaying building too as well. But my sister would say as soon as they got onto the property, they would just feel this like heavy weight on them. As soon as they walked like 5 feet off of the property line, it would just like disappear on them.
Oh,
so
I got that vibe actually. Because I'm not going to dox myself, but like where Ted Bundy ended his killing spree, we'll say his killing career, is in the town that my husband and I have a home in now. And you can go visit. I'm just like, it's a 10-minute drive to go to where all those sorority girls were killed because the building is still there. But he also dropped like a 14-year-old girl's body along the I-10 between two very big cities. And you drive right past that spot. And I know that he drove back and forth on that route a lot. So it always creeps me out driving through sections of the I-10 for that reason alone. And then we drive down I-75 to Orlando. I'm just like, oh man, how many more serial killers? Because I know there's a ton that have been through Gainesville and Orlando as well.
Yeah. Oh man. And I've thrown up at places before.
Oh wow.
It's just affected me that much, the energy in places. There have been times where Chris and I will walk into someplace unknown. Like I think we were in Sedona. We were in, I think it's called Jerome, which is a mining town that was built in the side of a mountain that's supposedly haunted. The mine is not active. They do like a bunch of haunted tours and stuff. And I would get energy in certain places and I would just throw up. I would just feel like there's a weight on me. Like not sick. I'd be fine. We'd move on and stuff. But yeah, I don't vibe. That's why I won't go into the Zach Baggins thing. That's why I won't go in there.
That's fair.
Yeah. Because I won't. I'll end up throwing up. I will. Absolutely. So this is the house. This is inside the house. And you can see kind of like it's very much like a hoarder, I would say.
Yep.
Can you imagine the smell in that place?
I really don't. Because the cans thing, like they showed that briefly, but he really did just live off canned pork and beans. So that was accurate. But they don't show the rest of this disarray, which is, again, they really do kind of a disservice of trying to tell this story because there's so many little details that we have evidence of like this that are just completely forgotten for the sake of doing these stupid movie inspiration dramatizations.
Yeah. I have some of the real life characters. So this is the real life Elsa, who was a real life Nazi who did experiment on people and stuff. Like it's probably very farly depicted in the show, but this is an actual monster in real life. Yeah. Which is interesting. Maybe they should have just went with her as a season, but I guess, how many times can you see Nazis bad? I know this is the actual Adeline Watkins on the right hand side, who again didn't have this like immense relationship with Ed too,
and was also ugly as fuck. Oh my god. It's like looking at Salad Fingers if Salad Fingers were a real person.
Here, let me put the chat down. So on the left are some of the items. So you get the lampshade that's made from human skin. You've got some shrunken heads and stuff. And on the right, you see the nipple chair that he made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to see all this. Like, if you're going to do an Ed Gein series, show me all the shit he made. We only got like 2 scenes where he was sewing things. and it was just
Yeah.
like shots of his shoulder, like over his shoulder while he was sewing things. Like I don't even think the idea to like do the whole like, oh, here's the man and here's the myth and here's how the myth inspired these huge films. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Just the execution is very poor. And what's made worse is that this is called the Ed Gein story. And when you look at the Menendez brothers and Dahmer, it's like, oh, he had the facts and he tried to tell the story, even though he was loose with a lot of his interpretation. This is just like 80% of it is just complete fiction. And you're still trying to sell this as a true story when this should really just be called the Legacy of Ed Gein, like Monster, the Legacy of Ed Gein.
Yeah, that I think would have sold me better with it instead of this over fictionalization of his story. And it's just the little things that he had to add throughout the entire series of it. And I'm with you. I would have wanted more of this, less skin suits. We got so many skin suits. Why didn't we get more of this?
The build up to the skin suits. Like we literally just jumped from, oh, there was a chair in the hallway to fucking skin suits. Like,
yeah.
There was no in between whatsoever. Like, how did he, like, we see the one instance with the babysitter chick, which is Addison Rae. By the way, I thought that was a really strange choice. But we see him like doing what he thinks he can to preserve the skin to cut it. But then we don't see him cut that skin. We don't see him drying out the skin. We don't see him like learning how he kind of perfected this very dark method of skinning people and skinning corpses as well. The difference between a live person and a dead person, what difference that made. Like there's an account that that book Deviant goes into about how Ed had witnessed his mother and father like very kind of violently gutting a cow, and how the image of the entrails just kind of stuck with him for the rest of his life. And it's like those are kind of things that I would like to see, because then you can kind of understand like how he was seeing this kind of imagery on a daily basis outside of things like the comic books or the Nazi concentration camp photos, which arguably would then have like that everyday stuff would have a far larger impact in how it desensitized him to all of like to fucking dead corpses and skinning people and whatnot. It would have showed how he honed in all these skills as well, because they didn't move to a farm till much later in life. He was quite old by the time that they moved to this as well. So most of the macabre stuff that he would have been exposed to happened well past like the really prime development years.
Yeah, we didn't really get much of childhood Ed at all throughout this. Actually, not at all. None of it.
There was no child. Yeah, there's barely any mother in Ed.
Yeah. That's going back to it. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen his childhood in these. Replace the Nazi scenes with his childhood if you want to do like flashbacks or something. That would have been way better to kind of have the weight on it, because you're just automatically assumed by the time you meet him in the first episode, he's just this deranged killer. There's no build up to it. That he turned because of a comic book and fascination with like what the Elsa was doing as the Nazi versus like what he grew up with.
Right. And it's like there's a huge disservice they even do. Like the father was like, by all accounts, he wasn't a great man, and Augusta really did kind of beat him down into a weaker man. But he wasn't like an incompetent drunk completely. Like he still worked quite a few jobs. He still provided for the family. He didn't just disappear. He died of a stroke when he was like 66 or something like that, right? Like those are things that are really fun. Like, and for schizophrenia diagnosis, like it's been shown that it doesn't just like happen out of nowhere, and it isn't the fault of one parent. It's usually like a lacking in both parents that contribute to most diagnosed schizophrenic patients. So you're not even you show like so much of the show in the latter half shows Ed in the mental hospital and whatnot, but we're not getting any even exploration then of how Ed was diagnosed as a schizophrenic in the 50s, no less, when like mental health diagnosis was not super strong or super well researched. It was still a developing and evolving field.
Yeah. Even when you get the Anthony Perkins interviews back and forth with his shrink too, just like pushing it upon that it's a sickness. Rachel, yes, made out of a woman's nipple.
Women's skin. Yep. All of his stuff was made out of women's skin.
Yep. Well, Final thoughts on the show, Vex?
Oh, did you go through the body photos? Do you have the one of Bernice hanging upside down?
Oh no, I don't. I just have the. Sorry, all I had was the last one with all the
okay,
the
gotcha,
product. Yeah,
gotcha.
I couldn't bring myself to have that photo because of YouTube.
I gotcha. Okay, well, if
Yeah.
anyone is curious, you can find the photo of Bernice
hanging upside
Warden's,
down. Yeah.
like the headless flayed thing, which, you know, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but you know, Terrifier 1 kind of takes inspiration from that.
I thought you were gonna. I'm wearing my Terrifier shirt for you. Yeah. The whole down the line kind of
right. Yeah, it's just like
through.
It didn't.
Yeah.
I like when I'd watched that for the very first time in Terrifier 1, I was like, oh, that's cool. And it was like kind of, and I didn't connect it until this. And it's like, oh, that's where they got it from.
Yep. Yeah, there's a couple movies. Obviously Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, but there's also Deranged, 1974, a semi-true biopic of Gain's crimes.
Gein, like
Gein.
Fiend.
Why do I keep saying Gein? Gein's fine. House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil Rejects apparently was Rob Zombie was inspired by him, and then American Story Asylum also had him in there.
What
character? Yeah.
Was he like an actual character in the asylum, or I don't remember that.
A Dr. Threadson, Bloody Face. That is the I remember this one. He's Zachary Quinto, I think.
Oh,
by him? Yeah. Zachary Quinto's Bloody Face.
Oh, I didn't realize that was okay. There's also the American Psycho. There's the line that Patrick has. It's like, you know what Ed Gein would say about women, or what Ed Gein said about women. There was that too. Even the chainsaw thing is clearly Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired, and he even makes things about comments about skinning. Yeah, there's a lot of like things that this is culturally influenced and inspired.
Well, supposedly he influenced the whole serial killer kind of I mean, serial killers weren't a term back then, but supposedly he is the start of the influence of that. That's what that whole fucking Mindhunters Ryan Murphy was tying in, that Ed is supposedly like the starting point of how serial killers started to be well known in media.
Yeah, I've read that across like multiple articles, and so I can buy it. Still, the way they do it is so fucking stupid.
It is. So final thoughts on the show?
This is a fucking shit show. Like, do not like I like the idea of blending. Like, I don't think that's a terrible idea. The execution is just awful. There's way too many liberties taken with this. I don't like how it has to make everything like some sort of sexual metaphor. In this case, it's like gay and transvestitism or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. It just like this is, if you just had like a group of talented, like if you had the people that did the Hannibal show write an Ed Gein show, that'd be fucking awesome. Do you know how absolutely dark and depraved and creepy that would be? And you could still get all of the skinned bodies, and you could have like those scenes that cross the boundaries, cross lines a little bit, but you'd have this far like deeper, intimate look into like how a madman was born.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know. I'm gonna end up watching the Lizzie Borden one. Like
we both will. Yeah, we will. We're both gonna, the moment they introduce the cast, we're both gonna be like, "Fuck this."
No, it's not even that. It's just like I'm gonna watch it regardless because I want to see how much of a lesbian Ryan Murphy is gonna make Lizzie Borden.
Oh, total lesbo on it.
How far is he gonna go?
Do you know what? Actually, I bet he depicts that she feels like a man on the inside. Thus, she likes women. Or thus, you see what I mean? Similar to, I don't think it's gonna be straight. She's a lesbian. I think he's got it twisted in some way. Like, she's
actually transgender, but she can't have the surgery,
or something to that extent, where she feels like more masculine energy in her than versus feminine. That's why she would never marry, or something to that extent. There's no way he can do just straight. Like,
yeah, that's
she's
true.
A lesbian.
That's too tame for him now.
Yeah, it is. It really is. He needs the shock value for it.
There's one line too that I did like in this show that did creep me out as well. It's when Adeline comes back from New York, which also dumb fucking plot line we didn't need to see.
Yeah.
But like she told him, like, just have sex with the dead bodies, like no one cares. And then she comes back and wants to have sex with him, and he puts his hand in her panties and he's just like,
oh
"You're
yeah,
too warm."
Oh,
I was like,
God.
that actually made me cringe. I was like, oh. Yeah. So there are some moments which gave me genuine chills, but it just too much of it was like, oh, you're just crossing too many lines to do that. And this does make me worry because I don't know if this is something you've noticed as well, but like whenever we had gore in older horror movies, it was usually like something that was like the cherry on top of what the film was building up to otherwise. Like there are exceptions like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of course, or like the Freddy films, the Jason films, where it's just a lot of gore. But that's the explicit purpose. But it's like those are just a small part of like the horror genre overall. But now it's like every horror movie that comes out these days is just constantly trying to push some sort of visual boundary. And it's not even just a one-off to shock you, it's to keep you consistently shocked. And I do worry that this is like desensitizing people to the point of like, we're losing our humanity and pretending serial killers are out there for fucking TikTok clout. So when Ryan Murphy is doing shit like this and he's making these really evil, like truly evil people sympathetic, and he's normalizing this kind of like, I don't even want to call it artistry, but you know what I mean? Like, normalizing this kind of stuff, like of like an influx. It's not just one or two scenes; it's every other scene and it's on a service like Netflix, which has the most subscribers of basically any service out there today across the world. What does that do to the collective mindset? Like, what threshold are we kind of beating down and eliminating completely within ourselves when this is becoming a normal standard for a mainstream release?
I mean, a couple weeks ago, the world just saw a man get shot live.
And like, that's like, do you know, like, bro, there were teachers in Toronto that were showing fifth graders that video footage. Yep. What are we doing here?
And I agree with you that horror nowadays just has to be shock after shock. What brings to mind, and I hate to say this, I was really desensitized by it, but Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back was supposed to be like this grotesque story, and I went to go see it. I saw it in an empty theater, and I don't know, have you seen it yet? I think you'd have.
Which movie?
Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back.
Oh yeah, I really liked it.
I liked it too, but the knife chawing scene, you know what I mean, and just the grotesqueness of it throughout. And it's not grotesque in the sense like Terrifier is grotesque. Terrifier is purposely like that. That is supposed to be like gore porn in a sense.
Right. That's a niche though, right? That's the purpose of that niche.
But these stories, and I think we were talking about it in chat too, these stories to try to tell trauma through grotesque depictions. Look at the younger generations. Look at Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't give a shit. They don't care. Nothing affects Gen Z. Nothing shocks them. We look at how the real world is happening. Look at everyday crime that is happening, that's depicted in the news. Things are Gen Z doesn't care. They don't have any feelings for it. Millennials do, because we've lived through things, right? Prior to the internet, these things were supposed to be shock value kind of stuff that we're not supposed to see this stuff. But Gen Z grew up with the internet. They see this stuff every single day. But yeah, a couple weeks ago, people saw a man shot. I saw that video up close because I was like, what is going on? I played it, and Chris heard me scream from the other room. But I look at people watching these videos, making fun of it and stuff like that. We're cooked, man. Humanity's cooked.
We really are.
The internet either has to go away, which would be the downfall of humanity because we rely on it so much, or things would have to change. And I don't really see society changing away from the convenience that we're following. I mean, we're lazy. We don't have to fight for much of anything. So we just come up with problems. We're desensitized by this stuff.
Which is why all of horror is basically just trauma-based now.
It is. It is. It's true. It's true. This whole year has been just horror about either about like dating or grief has been a big one throughout. And I know grief has always been there to tell stories throughout the horror genre, but it's been extreme. And I think honestly, I hate to say this, but I think Michael Flanagan kind of like set the tone for that kind of stuff. Remember the reporters at the beginning of the Iraq War? Yeah, Bobby's right. Depicting all this stuff. People, and we get so desensitized about it that we don't think it's going to happen to us in real life, right? So why should we worry or care about it? Why should we care about people that we don't know and such? We are going down a very dark path, and I don't see any way out of it.
I've kind of found because I haven't been on Twitter in like a month. I came on Twitter today just to like it was weird. Like, this is just a conspiracy theory that I have, which I mean is kind of based in fact. But so all of the screens that we look at give off a blue light filter, and there are studies that have proved that blue light filters, aside from the sleep alteration thing, it does rewire how your body releases chemicals and hormones, and it can actually end up making you more anxious. It can make you more depressed, especially when you're looking at screens after the sun goes down, right? It throws everything off. So the conspiracy theory I have now that I'm avoiding Twitter and avoiding social media altogether and limiting my screen time after dark, is that this is all intentional by design to get us hyper anxious and hyper depressed and hyper just scared of the world, and make desensitize us to certain things at the same time and make us a little more easy to control.
Yep.
So that the things that they want to be normal no longer seem so strange because, oh, well, I've been exposed to it so much that it's just it's like the gay thing. Listen, it's a hot take, right? But it's like the gay thing. It's gay relationships were not common to see publicly in the 70s, even the 80s. And then you see it becoming a little more common in the 90s. Then the turn of the 21st century happens, and you have, people like Elton John and Ellen DeGeneres kind of thrust into the public spotlight because they're gay. And now everywhere you go, there's just, LGBT owned business. There's gay dating apps and all of this stuff, right? So it's like it's just an example. I'm not saying necessarily that's a bad thing, but it is an example of just if you just push the button a little bit and normalize something, it no longer becomes abnormal. And they're kind of doing the same thing with, all of this shock in the news, people dying on live streams and all of this stuff, people finding fucking dead bodies on streams. It's crazy.
And we're starting people off when they're toddlers, not even with screens in their hands and stuff.
Right.
People, and we're no longer neighborly with each other. We don't care about each other either. We don't go to events. We don't hang out with each other. And when you do go to events, everybody's on their phone.
This is the strangest, because I've been hearing about this. It's clubs, right? Because I liked going to raves all the time before COVID happened, and then lockdowns kind of changed everything. But every time, like, you'd go, even in just like 2020, and like you'd see people just take out their phones to take pictures or record like a little bit from their favorite set. But otherwise, like, people were talking to each other, they were dancing. No one was really sitting, like they'd sit down if they wanted to take a break. Everyone was just talking to strangers. And then now when you go to clubs, apparently everyone is just on the dance floor on their phone.
Yeah.
Just the strangest thing ever.
People are on their phones in movie theaters. People who've paid money to sit in that seat to watch that movie is rather be on their phone.
That's crazy.
Like, and I'm guilty of it, but I try my best on the weekends, especially, to like disconnect from my phone as much as possible and do something outside. And even I work from home, so like I try to go for walks as much as I can, put some music on. But I feel like every time, I went to a horror convention this weekend, horror and car show convention. Everybody on their phone, just taking pictures.
That's insane.
Instead of sometimes when you go to those things, and I was trying my hardest, I was like talking to people, trying to chit chat, trying to make friends, trying to and everybody's just kind of too into their phones. And we've started off at such a young age. I don't know how we can, like I said, either the internet's got to go away which is going to be the downfall of humanity, or we've got to turn something up.
There just has to be a balance again. There's no balance anymore. I think that's the biggest problem is it's instead of like trying to be a little more intuitive with like noticing things about your own body or the way you act, everyone's just kind of looking for a solution, ironically, on the internet. So there isn't really like there's a study that came out, I think it was last year or the year before, that even if your phone is in the same room as you, you have a significantly lower IQ. And it's because instead of just thinking about what you should maybe do just based on, you know, your life experiences, people have been trained to just immediately go and Google the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, fuck, I kind of do. Like, I'll do that for cooking things, right? Like, I wanted to put bacon in the oven today. And I could have just been like, oh, I'll just put it at like 350 and check it every 10 minutes. But I looked it up instead. Mm-hmm. It's not like I had to go anywhere. Like I could check it every 5 minutes, but I have offhanded that very simple thing to a device.
I did the same thing today because I have bison. I was like, I have bison and baby spinach. ChatGPT, give me a recipe. Instead of just kind of like creatively putting something together.
Right.
It's a dependence. Like we don't have to fight for anything. Our groceries can be delivered to us. In some states, your weed can be delivered to you. Your alcohol can be delivered to you. Video games. You really honestly don't have to leave your house. Most jobs are work from home jobs nowadays, thanks to COVID. So like,
I actually intentionally find reasons to leave my house.
I do too. I have a gym membership, so that hopefully that gets me out of the house. I have dogs that try to get me to walk. I try to go to events on weekends, or even going to the movie theaters. Even though I know I can stream a movie, I would rather just go to the movie theater and just get the experience of it.
Right.
It's just to be outside. And I think just a lot of people forget community. I think a lot of people forget that this is how you make friends. You can make friends on the internet. We both have friends that we've met through YouTube and the internet. Mm-hmm. But normally it's like you go to these things that you're interested in and you find people who are interested in this stuff too, and you chit chat and you exchange numbers and you become friends in some manners, instead of, depending solely on the internet. But yeah, don't watch the show, folks. Fuck the show. Like, honestly, don't. There are better movies about Ed that you can watch. There are better depictions you can listen to. There are fantastic true crime podcasters out there that respect the victims, that, aren't looking to do it for shock value. Fuck Ryan Murphy, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, he'll never come on this show.
If you guys have Spotify Premium, that Deviant book is uploaded there, and it's a guy with this really deep voice who's reading it, which adds like a layer of creep to it. But so far, that is kind of the best thing that I have listened to about Ed Gein, because I've listened to endless true crime podcasts and watched the documentaries, but this is like it's really good. It's Deviant. I'm gonna look up the name. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I'll post it in the chat.
I'm going to look it up after I'm done with my one book.
I can't listen to audiobooks. Like, it's very hard for me. It's weird. I can deal with true crime podcasts, but when it comes to audiobooks, I just can't retain the information. So eventually I do want to actually buy this book. I'm
going to say I like the physical book in my hand when I'm reading. Plus, it gets me away from my phone. I get it. You can just kind of put headphones on and just put your phone down, right? But I feel that when I read a book, it completely disconnects me from all things that are wireless.
I just retain it. I don't retain stuff I read on screens. I don't retain stuff I listen to like on audiobooks. But if you give me the physical book and I read it with my eyes, I will retain it.
Yeah. I like I listen to podcasts too all the time about stuff. I'll retain it if it's talking about religious stuff. I'll retain it if it's talking about true crime and stuff. But if I read it, no, I have to have the physical book in me. I have a Kindle, but I don't really use it. I take it with me on trips in case I want to read, maybe just to help with packing. But I really like physically having, I don't know, it's just the weight of the book. It calms me down. It's just the weight of it and just holding it and just be able to kind of tunnel vision into it. I don't even like putting music on when I'm reading. I just like silence in a book.
I don't put music on at all either. We went to Spirit Halloween a couple days ago, which I bought. I bought that Art the Clown leather jacket that Spirit Halloween has. But like it was right next to like one of the two Goodwill bookstores in town. So we went to, and it's just because books are so fucking expensive. So I always have to pick and choose what I'm going to spend my money on. But everything was $4. I came home with 6 books and only spent $24.66 after taxes.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
People don't realize there's other ways to get books. I have like a stack of books I have to donate. I'm going to donate out because I'm not going to take it with me.
I was waiting for like sale prices on Amazon because like the options where in Canada are very limited. Like all of the used bookstores closed during COVID, and like the closest one is still a 40-minute drive away, and it's open at the weirdest hours because it's a super old dude that owns it. So I can't always make it there. And then on Amazon, even the sale prices are still really expensive. Like I was looking out for a sale copy of what's it called? The second book in the Terminal series. I'm reading it right now. How is the fucking title gone?
Dark Wolf?
No, that's the spin-off series. In the book, the Jack Carr novel. Anyways, I'm reading the second book in that series now, but I was waiting forever for a price drop to happen because after taxes, it was like $30-something for just the paperback fucking version. I wasn't even getting the hard copy. I know. So I found this other website now. It's like Thrift Books. No, not Thrift. That's the US one. It's Thrift Books is a great website if you're in the US though. But I found this other website and I was able to get new copies of all of these books I wanted for $10 or under. So like before I came down here, I ended up getting 4 brand new novels that had been on my like to read list.
That's awesome.
For $50.
Wow.
I know. They're all paperback still, which like kind of sucks, but like if I just went into a bookstore and bought one of those books, it would have been like $30-something after taxes. So,
yeah, I have never mind, you're going to make fun of me. All right. What do you got going on next?
What? Well, now I'm curious.
I have a book that's this big. It's called, I think it's there was a Harry Potter fanfic called Manacle that the author got a book deal to take the Manacle story but twist it in her own words, in a sense, basically remove everything that's Harry Potter, and she got published. I bought the book. It's like this fucking thick.
So you bought Harry Potter fan fiction?
It's not Harry Potter fan fiction. It's like really macabre, dark, like fantasy, very dark, like because the fanfic was very dark. So I bought
so you bought Harry Potter fan fiction?
It's not Harry Potter fan fiction, but I've been really lagging in my reading. I cannot seem to get into it. I don't know why. I've been reading more like cases of stuff and like religious stuff, and I can't get into books for some reason. The last thing I read was the Harry Potter fanfic. So
you're reading
I bought
something.
The book.
You're reading something, so that's
But I noticed that my intelligence is not as high as I fucking would like it because I'm not reading anymore as much. I noticed that my vocab and how I pronounce words get way better. And Chris even will say this, way better if I actually read books. It doesn't matter if it's like a fictional story, non-fictional, as long as I'm reading something, it's just like brain fog goes away. So I want to get back into.
I should have plugged in my camera before this because like I have my daily planner where I write down everything. I'm like there's on each page there's like a little thing at the bottom that's like a habit and skills tracker. So what I put steps for one row and reading for the other. I just like even if it's just like. Because the way I just kind of get myself to literally do anything is I'm just like, if I just do it for 5 minutes, like don't even think about it. If I just do it for 5 minutes, I'll just keep doing it. That's what I did with fitness. That's what I did with cooking. That's what I did with reading. And now it's become a habit. So like every night I put my phone down. Actually, I just put as you've noticed, I don't respond to texts like at all anymore.
I text you like 3 months ago. But I gotcha.
Right, because I just don't touch my phone anymore. But like because I work on my computer, I'm on Discord. So
yeah.
But it's so I put my phone down because I'm already not on it a lot anymore, and I have the book right there, and I get nice and comf, and I have my special dimmable reading light, and I just read. I think it helps
Oh,
too that I go camping a lot, and when I go camping, I have no phone access, so I just sit in front of a campfire and read after a hike.
that was a lie. I did read this book. So horror and
Horror.
hate and build.
Hold on, let me look that up. Horror in.
I had the author on last week to discuss it. It's all about the Halloween franchise. It's like over 20 interviews plus essays from cast and crew from all of the movies.
Oh, okay, then I don't care, but that's very cool.
Yeah.
Because I think Halloween's a shit series, but like I respect that you had. That's very cool that you had them on.
I would agree with you. It is not my favorite series, but it was very interesting to get it from the perspective, especially after Halloween 2, because I feel Halloween 1 and 2 are the same story because it takes place at the same night. And just to see how like the producers and like the meddling in the studio and stuff like that, it's very interesting read. It's like the history of the franchise. So I did read that, but I haven't read anything fictional. I'm waiting for Jim Butcher's putting out the next Dresden Files in January. So I'm like very excited about that. I also have a stack of comic books I need to get through too as well.
Comic books are easy to get through.
Because I just don't lately. I've been so busy. I just haven't had the time to just sit down and because for me, comic books, I like to examine the page after I read the dialogue.
Take your time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I haven't had time for it. So I'm hoping after this month, November will slow down and I will have time for all of my TBR. Even we were at a bookstore the other day and Chris is like, you better not buy a single book. I know how big your TBR is. It's just stacked sitting next to my bedside.
Yeah, that's how my like it's got because I only have one bookshelf in my bedroom at home, and it's like you can't even see the books anymore because I've just packed the shelves on top and in front and literally every space there is. And I've started putting them inside my like nightstand. And there's no room there. So now they're just kind of like starting to gather in a pile on top of the nightstand, which is dangerous because my cats like to eat the corner of my books when I'm actually like holding them and reading them. Like that's become a weird habit of theirs. So
I did move Blood Meridian up though. It is the first book sitting on my TBR to read.
God, I gotta read. I bought it 2 years ago and I still haven't read it.
Same thing. I bought it about that time ago and I was like, I'll read this. And I just haven't gotten a chance to get to it yet, but it has been moved up to the top of the list because I think I recently saw a video about it or something.
You know, I have this list of books that I bought to read, but then what's been happening lately is that like I'll watch something or hear something and learn that it's based on a book, and then I'll want to read that book instead.
The Buffalo Hunter that you recommended, that's on my like wish list to read it.
Oh god, yeah, I thought it was a great book. It drags that first like 50-ish pages, but once it picks up, it really picks up. But like I watched because I rewatched the Terminal List and I wanted to prepare for Dark Wolf, so I bought True Believer. That's the second book. So and then I bought the third book as well because Sassy had said that those two books were really good. Like she remembered them being really good when she listened to them. But then I watched Waterworld like a month ago, and now I've been on the hunt for the Waterworld novelization. Then last week I rewatched Into the Wild, so now I want to read the Into the Wild biography. That I keep just I have ADHD, but for books. If that
same. So if you can't tell, like these are all comics. On this side, comics. Then I've got to pack these, but I've got all my first edition Stephen King books, but fuck Stephen King. So, but I don't want to throw them out. I want to like pack them away because they'll probably be worth something when he dies.
Especially depending the edition. Like, oh yes.
They're all most of them are first edition of like, I got first edition of Pet Sematary, Firestarter, Stan.
Definitely hang on to those. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I want to pack, but I have a stack over here of like donation books that I've read. Got more books on this side of all fantasy books, and then we've got a big bookshelf downstairs full of books, and then Chris in his own office has a bookshelf just full of comic books and books too. So,
I'm just kind of saving online because I've always had that dream of having just a wall of books. So I'm just saving all my books.
So similar, like when we buy a house, I would like a library or like at least part of my office to have like built-in shelves in the walls, right?
Mhm.
And have a library. But I told him, I was like, let's go through all of our books because there are some books that are dead on, did not finish, like did not care for, like the stupid fucking books my friends recommend, like the Court of Thorns and Roses series. Gag me with a fucking spoon.
TikTok books.
Stupid shit like that. I'm like, let's donate those, but like let's keep some of the good ones. Like we're both big Jim Butcher fans. Let's keep all of our Jim Butcher books, but let's get hardcovers for them. Let's donate the soft covers. I've got a lot of Chuck Palahniuk. Yeah, I've got a lot of first edition of his books that I've read. Like keep those. Let the right one in. Right? Is that the Let Me In or Let the Right One In? The book that it was the movie. Have you ever read that book?
I haven't read the book, but I did very much enjoy that original movie. I didn't watch the remake though.
So the book is really dark.
Okay.
Way darker than the original movie. It depicts, you know how in the movie the vampire is a child and like the handler is kind of like a father figure almost.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not in the book. Not in the book.
Oh.
Yeah. 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 The book is fucking dark. It is dark.
Okay.
So
I'd be open to reading that at some point then. I can actually hold on. Let me I have a Samsung Notes document of all the books that I look for at bookstores. So hold on.
It's really good. And then I like this series. And besides that point, it is a dark book, but I do like forget which one is the first one. This one. There's a third book, it's somewhere, but this one is Senlin's Ascend. It's pretty good. It's kind of like I don't want to say steampunk, but take like futuristic fantasy almost.
Right.
It's pretty good. So it's about a mild-mannered headmaster who prefers his adventures to be safely contained within pages of a book. So then when he loses his new bride shortly after embarking on a honeymoon of their dreams, he's ill prepared for troubles that follow. So he must enter the Tower of Babel. So it's a lot of religious things, a world of geniuses and tyrants, of luxury, unusual animals, and mysterious machines. He must endure betrayal, assassination attempts, and the illusion of the tower. So there's like 3 books in the series. It's pretty good.
Huh. Interesting.
But
okay, I've added that to my must read list.
But yeah, Let Me In, dark, but it was yeah. I couldn't. Rachel's in the chat. She's like, "Oh my god, I read that courtship." Rachel,
what is it about?
So the first book is just a retelling of like Beauty and the Beast, but like elves is the easiest way. It's about a 19-year-old like human huntress who like ends up being sold to like the Lord of the Land, who's like this elf who's got like this, who wears a mask because he's got like this mysterious disease and stuff, and like she helps. It's basically Beauty and the Beast, okay? But it continues on because there's like different fairies from different realms. And I will say the later half of the book is very dark because it depicts like dark magic and like her being like torn apart by creatures and stuff. So like it's just sex with fairies. That's what it is. Just sex with fairies.
Didn't the Sookie Stackhouse series do that?
That's better. That was way better than this. This shit is just like, oh, won't they? Will they? And then they do. Oh, she's bored with him. She moves on to the bad boy with bat wings. There's like 6 books in this series. Okay.
What?
I read the first one because I was like, okay. First books in a series usually are hard, right? Because it's the writer's first attempt to kind of get you interested. So like Jim Butcher's Dresden Files, the first book is a hard one for a lot of people to kind of finally get into. Afterwards, like the second book scared the shit out of me. The whole series is great because there's like an undertone story. So I was like, okay, I'm going to give some grace. I started the next book, which I think is Court of like Silver something. Each book is like a court of some bullshit.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past like the 1/3 of the first half of the book. I was like, yeah, Thank you. It's a sex with fairies as Beauty and the Beast. Thank you, Rachel.
Okay, how about this? For someone who is reading popular romantic novels for research purposes, is this one I can just skip?
It's a very popular one, but it's not like the Maiden's Milking one. Like it's not a like.
Okay, I'm not reading that for research purposes. That's just because chat wanted me to read that. But
I'm saying it's not that type of romance. It's like,
okay,
oh, they all dress in like fairy. They base like balls around the United States office where people dress up as like fairies and like dress their husbands with like bat wings and stuff. Yeah, fairies gone wild and stuff. It's not. There's spice, but if I was to give it a level between 1 through 5, at least of what I've read, it's like maybe 1.5. Okay, you see what I mean? It's like young adult. I wouldn't say it's young adult, but yeah, I guess like a young adult romance. Like if they were to make a show about it, it would be on the CW.
Okay, but is there any actual romance in it?
What kind of romance you want? Because I know of the book of the woman who fucks a sentient door.
Okay, for reference, I am just reading a variety of romance novels. So there is.
Can you give me a title to maybe help me?
I read A Walk to Remember by Nicholas.
Okay,
Sparks.
yeah, no. See, that is like, no. This is like Hot Topic. Somebody at Hot Topic wrote this book. Kind of deal like romance.
Okay. If I wanted to write a book that would make millions and be like TikTok worthy, I should read this. But if I want to write an actual novel, I should avoid it. Yes.
Okay. There's like 6 books in this series. There's even a book of like a perspective of a different character that's like a novel. Then there's like this author has a different series which ties into it called Thorn and Glass. But yeah, it's it's not written really well. Like, you know how bad I am with English. I could probably write better.
Jesus. I was reading like romance books in high school, but they were, I guess, by today's standards, they're not really trashy. They're tame. But I remember those, like, they weren't the best written things, but they were competently written. So I could tell that a writer actually wrote this because the characters were all defined. There was a plot that you could follow. They did an adequate amount of was it Laurel K. Hamilton? She has like a bunch of vampire romance books.
I have one of her books.
Right. Somewhere. Like those, it's not the best literature out there, but it was competent literature. And then I read shit like Haunting Adeline. And I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
My distaste for that book has grown more so. I used to like to read that stuff because I found it funny. Because I'd be it was entertaining. Ridiculous. Yeah. And now I'm like, people are fucking deviled eggs and doorknobs and fucking like a can. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Thank you, Rachel. That's where my stuff. VC Andrews. That's some disturbing shit, though, Rachel. But I feel you. I read VC
Andrews.
You never read VC Andrews?
I've never heard of this.
Okay. Flowers in the Attic?
No, never read Flowers in the Attic. Should I be reading Flowers in the Attic?
So you should read Flowers in the Attic and then continue with when the books were published, because she wrote a continuing story, but then she wrote a prequel to it that came out later. Don't read the prequel, because I found when I was reading the books in published order, when you finally get to prequel, shit just like you're surprised even more so, even though you know how the story goes towards it. But yes, VC Andrews. Let me set this up for you. Okay, Flowers in the Attic, which is there's a movie. There's 2 or 3 movies. Don't
yeah, I'm familiar with the title. I haven't even watched those movies though. So okay.
So Flowers in the Attic is about, I think there's 4 siblings who their mother is basically at dead end meat, like can't provide for them, so they go back to her parents who are very well off, and they never liked her husband or the father of her children, who are not in the picture at the time. So they lock the kids in the attic as like that's their living space, right? They have beds, they're provided meals, and then over time, mom starts coming to visit them less and less, right? And I think one kid eventually gets super sick and stuff. I don't want to spoil stuff for you, but there's some relations that should not be happening that happen.
Oh, there's incest. All right.
But,
I sound a little too
okay,
excited by that. I'm not saying I'm
but
interested in incest. I'm just saying,
yeah,
oh, that's dark. I'm not interested. It's okay.
but VC Andrews is a competent writer, though. So like she takes this stuff, and even though it's kind of trashy, right? It's kind of like the in a sense like stories of like the woman who ran away with the butler and had you know what I mean, like that's not the story, but you know what I mean, like those type of stories, but she's able to write them. I know eventually after she died, I think a ghostwriter took over for a while in the last
Okay.
couple of books, but that stuff, I was reading that stuff in middle school. Should not have been reading that stuff in middle school, but I was definitely reading that stuff in middle school. Yeah, her books are wild, but definitely start with the Flowers in the Attic series. There are other ones that are popular, but that is the most popular one.
Okay. All right. I've added it to my Samsung note of books.
And they're fast reads too, by the way. They're really quick. If you're a fast read, you'll get through these books pretty fast. So
okay. I'm
yeah.
like right now, if life is normal as it is, it takes me about a week to read like a 300-page book.
Oh yeah. No, how many books are in the Attic book series? I know there's like begins with the original, continues with the Petals of the Wind, If There Be Thorns, Seeds of Yesterday, and followed by the prequel, Garden of Shadows. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 books plus the prequel.
Okay, so I'll start with Flowers in the Attic and see how I feel. I did see this at the Goodwill bookstore the other day. I did see a copy of Flowers in the Attic. So
you'll find her books everywhere. As they were very, very popular. Like she's got a ton of different series of it too. So yeah, Flowers in the Attic. Then there was Heaven, which I've read, Dark Angel, which Garden of Shadow, and then Fallen Heart. But yeah, it's Flowers. It's wild, man. That whole, don't look it up though. Don't look anything up about
I won't look it up.
I won't look
it up. That's fine. I know nothing about it. All right. This is like, because I never watched the movie, never saw the trailer for the movie adaptations.
Movies are shit.
So
movies are shit in the point that because the incest is actually like a very important storyline to it, they can't depict it really, right? Well, maybe nowadays give it to fucking Ryan Murphy. I don't know. But so
Flowers in the
like,
Gay Attic.
Yeah, but similar to like Stephen King books, there are certain things like, the infamous It scene where they never would be able to depict that on screen, the orgy scene.
Mm-hmm.
So the books are kind of, Lifetime movies, they make them out of to be.
Oh,
that makes sense. Yeah, they're really watered down to it. But I remember reading that series. I remember reading that whole series in probably about 2 weeks. Just flying through it. Yeah.
I think the last time I read a series, the last time I read like that, it was the Sookie Stackhouse series. I read the first 8 books in like 2 weeks.
I think I did the Dresden Files, and those are like about 18 books. I think we were up to 15 at the time. I think I did that in about 2 months.
Jeez.
Those are great books, though. Those are great books. All right. I've held you captive.
Oh, you're good. The conversation's been good. So like we're Gucci. It's all good.
We're Gucci. Mm-hmm. What do you got going on next?
I'm just editing. So like all of my videos have been put on the back burner.
Thank you, Rick.
I'm driving back to Canada this weekend, and then it's Thanksgiving. It's Canadian Thanksgiving on Monday. So I don't know when I'm going to have a video up, but Mondays, I'm always on BSUP on the Little Platoons channel. Tuesdays, I'm always on Gronk and Gaming podcast at 5 p.m. Eastern. For sure, you can always... Sunday streams will be back, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. I don't think I'll have a chance to get through phase 4 and 5 of the MCU because I'm in an MCU arc, so might end up just doing something else instead. Okay. Oh, and I'm on Nick's generally Tuesdays at 9 p.m. now that he's doing Dark Wolf.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Oh, yeah. I hope you come back for the Lizzie.
Oh, I'll watch it anyways. So I will. I'm trying to look. What other horror series are we getting? Like,
today we got James Wan's True Haunting, which came out today on Netflix, which is his depiction of 2 like true haunting stories. So
it's the chick with the botched face from The Boys.
Oh, Yeah, it's two stories, true haunting stories that he's like depicted, and then I think there's Welcome to Derry coming out towards the end. VHS Halloween, I'm hearing really good things about, so I really want to check that out.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it? Is it worse than the sci-fi one last year?
No, it's definitely better than VHS Beyond. My biggest issue, like I'm sure people will have a different opinion because it's not like they're necessarily bad. My issue is that they're all derivative. So like there's 6 stories that are told. There's one that's told like in between segments, which it was cool. It was whatever. Segments 1 and 3 were just the same story that we've seen time and time again. Story 2 was basically a nod to another famous found footage film, which I maybe you'll pick up on it. I haven't seen anyone else pick up on it. The kid was it Kid Spree? The 4th one was probably the most interesting one. The 5th one is pretty forgettable, but it's just like I know this series has done better, and for it to just become like a bunch of really derivative like found footage IP spin-offs at this point was disappointing. So not a fan.
Yeah.
I would recommend watching Good Boy instead. Good Boy was really, really good. I was genuinely surprised by that one.
I heard one of them uses AI for it, and that was a big
okay, like people are blowing this shit up like way too much, like they did with Late Night with the Devil. So there's in the first story segment, they're in a house and they see a photo on like a fireplace ledge, and you can clearly tell it's an AI generated photo. That's it.
That's it. Would you say VHS 2 is the peak of the series?
Oh, 100%.
You know why 100%. I say that? Because I worked on it.
Oh, okay. But like objectively, like that aside, it is the best entry in the franchise. So,
yep. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Watch it for yourself, but like I was not very I will say like the creature effects in segment 1 were pretty interesting because that was just like jarring. And then like the monster in segment 3 just looks like Gourd King, which just made me laugh the whole time. So like I couldn't take it seriously either way. But yeah, I'm personally I was not a fan. I put a review up on Critic List because I reviewed like every new movie that comes out. I try to put it up on Critic List. So
I'm so behind. I'm like 20 reviews behind on my Critic List. But yeah. All right, cool. So then for this channel, Thursday, I'm continuing my Alien watch party. I just did Mars Attack, which I was not. I was pleasantly surprised last week.
My husband loves Mars Attack. We just got a Mars Attacks greeting rug, actually.
I was pleasantly surprised. They still are creepy little fucks. It did creep me out a little bit, but I was pleasantly surprised. This Thursday, I'm doing The Fourth Kind. Never seen it.
Oh, why would you?
What?
Don't watch it, Nadia. Don't watch it.
It's on the Alien tier list. That's okay.
You can keep it on the list and not watch it. The rest of the panel can write. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. Curious. I'm gonna be completely honest. Okay, it's not a very good movie. It's like a found footage movie, right?
Okay.
It's not a very good movie, but the found footage segments that they do in there are so genuinely creepy that I don't like rewatching the movie because it keeps me up for a week.
Well, it's set in stone. I'm watching it.
I would just have like a really, really, really like just like your happy place palate cleanser ready for afterwards, because like that movie is genuinely terrifying, like even to me, and I have a higher threshold for all that alien shit.
I'm watching it early for me, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, so it's 4 o'clock here, so I'll still have time Sunlight. Afterwards. Yeah, so I'm doing that Thursday. Friday, I'm on The Descent at Niet's channel, and then followed by I'll be here for Stranger Things, and then I believe I'm on Scooby's channel on Saturday. So all that next week. I don't know if we're gonna have a Horror Tuesday because I am on Box Office Brawlers for Pan's Labyrinth. We're gonna do a deep dive on that. Movie. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And then next Thursday, the 16th, I'll have Leon and Brandon on to discuss Resident Evil. So basically, I brought 2 Resident Evil nerds together, and I'm just going to kind of let them go at it. But the one thing I want to highlight is the 18th, I'm having a charity stream. I'll be streaming for 8 hours. Yes, 8 hours straight. So I'll have content creators coming in and out. I'll have some games for us to play. I'll have some like chat goal tiers to hit. One of them being that I will do a Velocipaster watch party and go on Nick's show to discuss it. If we hit the goal. We got to hit the goal for the charity though. So it is one of the higher goals to hit. It is one of the higher goals to hit. Because I
can't believe you don't like that movie. That movie is so peak. Oh my goodness.
You know what? I thought the movie was mid to begin with, but my experience definitely affected it. So
such a beautiful movie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, pray I hit that goal, I guess, right? So that was the agreement because I know Nick has been asking me, and he's like, I won't do the Velocipaster unless Naughty show. So I was like, you know what? We'll make it a check goal. And it all goes to a really, really great nonprofit charity. It's a charity that helped me when I was first diagnosed with chromo. I want to pay it forward for them. So all money that will be earned, that 8 hours will be going to them directly. So I'll be making a donation for them. So I think the top tier goal, I haven't decided, but I'll watch a spider movie.
A spider movie?
I will not watch spider movies.
Oh, so you haven't watched like Eight-Legged Freaks?
I've never seen Arachnophobia. I've never seen Eight-Legged Freaks. Didn't see any of the recent ones. I refuse. Like, Aliens are pretty bad, but I'm making my way through it. I will never watch a spider movie.
So does that mean you didn't watch
Sting
or no? What about Return of the King?
Return of the King.
Because there's when Frodo and Sam are going through the mountain, they go through that cave, and there's
and even the Harry Potter spiders fucking freak me out. Okay, so like
there was oh my god, you know what? I have to fit. It was a French movie that came out last year.
Yeah, I know. It's called like Sting or some. There's like 2 big spider movies that came out last year.
Yeah, Sting is the funny one. Sting is not but the French one, they're both not scary, but if we're going for the arachnophobia angle, then the French one was way worse. Way worse by a fucking mile.
So my plan is to put all spider movies on a wheel, and if we hit the top goal, I'll let the wheel spin and decide what watch party we're going to do.
Okay.
So, that's the goal. But I know Velocipaster is the biggest goal.
Oh my god! You know what? Like, because I have arachnophobia too. I've gotten better with it, but like Eight-Legged Freaks is just genuinely hilarious. Like, you can't be scared of the spiders in that because the movie is so stupid.
I can't do it. It's just. Anyway, thank you, Vex, for joining me. You know you're always welcome back. I know you'll be stopping in for the charity stream. So please, everybody, Rick did drop her links in the chat, and her links are in the description too as well. Please go subscribe to her. She's the one that did my intro and outro videos, so she's very talented. So please go subscribe to her videos, are bangers. Have a good night, everybody. Stay spooky.
Bye.